Hello loves, it's Buddha. Today I'm going to be giving myself a stick and poke tattoo, and I wanted to bring you guys along. Maybe some of you wanted to know how to do a stick and poke tattoo, or maybe it would just be something for fun for you guys to watch. So I'm gonna get started. First, I'm just gonna show you some of the stuff that I have set out. So the tattoo that I'm gonna be doing, I drew let's get the good lighting. I drew these lily flowers as an idea. My baby sister's name is Lily, and she's a huge part of my life, so I wanted to have a tattoo for her. I'm going to have to transfer my drawing onto some stencil paper, that way I can have the print on my arm that I can trace over. I have some tattoo ink. I'm just going to be doing it in black. I have my stencil stuff in order to transfer the design onto my arm, a little ink jar. I'm going to be using a 5RL needle today, which is just a 5 round liner. If I can get it to focus, it's just 5 tiny needles going in each time, and they are very compressed together to create a thicker line. And I have some witch hazel out because I like to wipe off the spot that I'm working on frequently while I'm working. So witch hazel is nice for swelling or redness, and it's nice and soothing for the tattoo that you're working on. So first I'm going to transfer my drawing into a stencil. Now that I've got my stencil onto this transfer paper, the next thing I'm going to do is actually transfer it onto my arm. So first I like to cut the design on the stencil paper kind of close to the design, that way when I place it down wherever it is going to be, I can have a pretty accurate idea of how big it is and how it's laying on there, how it's positioned. So I'm going to cut fairly close to the design. I also like when the transfer is kind of faint. That way I can really tell where my lines are and where the existing just transfer ink is. Sometimes if the transfer image is too dark, you can't tell as easily where you have tattooed or where it's just the markings that'll eventually wash off. So I kind of like when it is a little more faint. I've already washed and made sure that my arm was really clean. I've worked on this piece right here, and here I'm thinking about adding the flowers in the middle here. I want to do my entire right arm myself because I think that would be cool. So I am first just going to kind of position and see where I think it would look good. It is a pretty large piece, but I'm excited, and I really like the flowers, how they turned out. So it looks like it's gonna lay exactly how I wanted it to. So first, I take this transfer. It's actually called Stencil stuff, and I got it off Amazon along with my transfer papers for tattooing. So you can get a lot of materials that you want online. I really encourage that you get professional materials. Make sure that you do it correctly. Stick and poke tattooing is still a real tattoo and it needs to be taken seriously. So I hope that if you ever want to do it or you're interested, that you do research and do it correctly. And
so when the stencil stuff is on your arm, it will allow the transfer paper to have something to attach to, kind of bond with. I'm going to put a little more on here to make sure that the image is on my arm.
Peel your paper off and look at the image that is there. I really like how it's laying, how it's placed on my arm. I think that'll look nice. Ooh, it's big. Alright guys, I'm ready to start tattooing. I had to change my shirt because it randomly got really hot and I didn't want to be sweaty or too hot while I was tattooing. But the stencil is on my arm and it is dried on there. I also have my drawing in front of me because I can look at the details and know what the artwork's supposed to look like, but I have a general guideline here. And I'm gonna put my gloves on. That's what I was wondering. I'm not gonna wear a glove on my left hand. I don't really need to. And it was going to lay where the design was, so I'm gonna go ahead and just leave that one free. But I'm very excited. I'm also excited to show my sister since it's for her. But I've put my ink in my little ink jar. They are so cute. And I'm gonna open my 5RL. I also got out a 9RS, which is 9 round shader, and it is 9 needles going in each poke, and they're a little more spread apart. Instead of a liner, it's a shader, so you can get more of a gradient effect if you're trying to do any shading. But I'm gonna open this fresh needle, and I only use 1 needle per tattoo or per person, so that way I can make sure that I'm staying clean and staying safe. But I'm probably going to move you guys a little closer when I start, that way you guys can see the actual process, but I'm ready to get started. So I'm going to go through and do the outline of the entire design first, and then go back with my shading needle and add any shading to add any dimension or make any of the outlines thicker. So I just dip my needle in my ink. And I'm just going to do a little bit on this leaf here just to show you guys up close. So you just are going to stab right over the design that is on your hand or on your wherever. And you can go right on the line and you press in. You can kind of feel a little bit of a pop. It's kind of where there's tension on your skin and you can feel kind of where the tension releases, that you've broken through and went deep enough. So you just continue that process and you just cover whatever line you're working on. The ink is going to collect on the surface of your skin. So after I wipe away the extra ink that is just sitting on the surface of my arm, you'll be able to see how thin the line actually is. It's going to be significantly thinner than what the leaking ink is showing you right now. But I just wanted to give you guys a closer view. You can get a few pokes in before you re-dip. It's kind of like a calligraphy pen. When you start to see that you have less ink on your needle, you can go ahead and just dip it in the ink again and start fresh. And I'm just going to continue this process for the entire design of the tattoo. And the ink will only appear when you go deep enough, so if you are wiggling or you tend to tap your arm somewhere else, it's not going to leave a mark unless you're pressing really hard intentionally. So it's all about patience. I believe it hurts a little bit less than a traditional tattoo with a gun because it doesn't go as deep. It's not as abrasive because you do have the pauses in between each poke. And especially when you're tattooing yourself, you're able to stop whenever you need a break or whenever you need to feel some relief. So I almost see it as a little stress relieving, maybe like acupuncture or something. It's just something about the concentration. And also I just really love tattoos. I think they're really beautiful, and just the idea that you can display artwork just on your skin is a really amazing thing to me. So being able to tattoo myself is even cooler. I love tattooing others. All I've done is stick and poke so far, but in the future I want to have an apprenticeship and learn how to use the machine as well. Hopefully I can work at a tattoo shop someday. But for now I'm just going to keep practicing. I'm self-taught, but I did a lot of research. As I mentioned earlier, I recommend that if you want to do a stick and poke tattoo that you research it. There is a lot to learn, and although you might want to do a tattoo as soon as you think of the idea, I really do think it's worth it to order the correct tools that you need instead of trying to make your own at home. And that way you can be doing it correctly, safely. It's worth it. It's your body, so you need to take care of yourself. So I'm gonna pause there and get a little bit of witch hazel on a paper towel and wipe that away, just to show you how much thinner the line is than what it appears right now. Let's see. So you can see that ink is moving. The more I scrub, the more it's coming off the surface. I don't want to do it too much because I don't want to lose my stencil for the rest of the design, but the line is very thin, and this is a stick and poke that is healed now, but you can definitely see the gradients and that the lines are one poke at a time, and that's what this is going to look like. So I'm going to continue through with the outline. I am bringing you an update. I have done the entire outline one time, so I just wanted to give you a view of how tedious stick and poke tattooing can be. You might think that the line is a lot thicker while you're doing it, but once you rinse it off, it is pretty thin and scattered, so I'm gonna go over that outline one more time. And then I'll go in with some shading, but I really am loving how it looks. I wanted to show you guys what it looks like in the natural light. You can see it is a little swollen. So this is after the second outline. I have not washed the ink off yet. So this is, I'm showing you before I wash it. It looks very, very thick. So I rinsed it off with a unscented antibacterial soap and just my hand and lukewarm water. Then I just pat it dry with a towel, and this is what it looks like.
It is hurting, but this is after the second outline, and it looks amazing. It looks like how I wanted it. I think I'm going to outline it again just so it's perfect, but it is tender.
I'm going to use a 9 needle shader to go in and add some shading in the petals, the leaves, just add some dimension, and the needles are spaced out a little more than the round liner was, so it's easier to create more of a gradient.